WWE is a place where, for many dreams come true and enduring reputations are built, also serves as a stage where ambitions are brutally extinguished. While the company has launched numerous performers who shaped distinct periods in wrestling history, it has also dashed the hopes of many others, preventing their potential from ever being seen. In its dominant past, WWE was the unquestioned leader in sports entertainment, and being released often meant the end of any hope for reaching such heights again. Yet against all odds, one individual defied this pattern. He was prematurely elevated and celebrated, only to be coldly observed as he faltered under expectations he never created. When he struggled, they ignored him. When he suffered, they ridiculed him. And when he disappeared, they acted as if he had never existed. His aspirations weren't destroyed instantly, but systematically dismantled by the very system that had rapidly elevated him, only to let him fall harder than anyone could endure. He was abandoned and then scorned for the resulting damage. However, he refused to remain defeated. He painstakingly recovered from his downfall, transforming himself until the vulnerable figure they had discarded was replaced by a resilient fighter. Then global events caused a standstill, emptying arenas and sidelining prominent figures. In that critical moment, it was not the celebrated champions who bore the responsibility, but a solitary, wounded hero. Without fanfare, carrying a symbolic weapon, he shouldered the weight of the company, the wrestling world, and the hopes of a generation. As the world watched from isolation, he sacrificed his well-being and time, enduring unseen hardships. When normalcy returned and crowds cheered again, recognition was given to others, leaving him in the aftermath of his own immense contribution. Although once labeled as the chosen one, he was never destined to inherit anything. Instead, he forged his own way. This isn't a tale of predetermined fate. It's about a man who faced banishment, rejection, and obscurity, only to reappear as a powerful force that defied all expectations. He carved out his own destiny through hard work, dedication. The Drew McIntyre we see today is a uniquely captivating star. With a striking appearance, a compellingly intense way of speaking, and a fiercely energetic fighting style, he commands attention. In the often critical online wrestling community, where negativity is common, it's rare to find anyone who dislikes him. Currently enjoying a peak in his career, he seems universally admired and considered one of the all-time greats. However, his journey wasn't always celebrated. His path to success was paved with setbacks, disappointment, and hardship. It all began in the seemingly unremarkable town of Ayr, Scotland. In that understated environment, a young Andrew Galloway discovered his passion. From an early age, he was enthralled by professional wrestling. The characters, the spectacle, the performance. He knew instantly that this was his calling, his sole ambition. He directly declared his intention to his family. He would become a wrestler and he would join WWE. Despite their skepticism, citing its American nature and unlikelihood, he remained resolute. By 10, he was already immersed in studying the industry, secretly reading wrestling books. At 15, he persuaded his mother to undertake a long journey to the only wrestling school he could find in the UK. He made his debut as a young teenager in rudimentary venues before often inebriated audiences. Yet his presence suggested a much grander stage. He dedicated himself to wrestling professionally before completing his education. Early on, people noticed the imposing, driven young man with a sculpted physique. Each night, Drew improved, steadily building an undeniable foundation. He gained experience in various wrestling circuits, including British Championship Wrestling, Irish Whip Wrestling, and Insane Championship Wrestling. During this period, he encountered another determined young wrestler, a fair-skinned Irishman named Sheamus. They made a pact. Success for one meant success for the other. True to their word, both achieved their goal. Drew signed with WWE's developmental program, a place where aspirations were either realized or quietly faded away. While many faltered under pressure, Drew grew stronger. His arrival on SmackDown showed glimpses of a natural, authentic talent. He was a tall, unpolished figure with an unbroken confidence, clearly new but undeniably promising, and Vince McMahon recognized it. In 2009, McMahon publicly declared Drew McIntyre the chosen one, a powerful endorsement that also made him a target. For a time, things went well. Victories accumulated, and he quickly won the Intercontinental Championship, followed by Tag Team Gold with Cody Rhodes. Two young talents seemingly destined for greatness. The boy from Air had achieved the improbable, but success proved fleeting. Doubts began to surface gradually. A defeat here, lukewarm audience reactions there. Confidence eroded, replaced by pressure, which eventually led to silence. Behind the scenes, the situation was even more challenging. By his own admission, he was an inexperienced young man from Scotland, suddenly elevated to a level he wasn't prepared for. He naively believed his colleagues were his friends, but he was mistaken. They were duplicitous, exploitative, and undermining. He didn't understand the unspoken rules of the industry, which punishes those who don't. He faced unseen struggles. Then, the promised success vanished. His matches became shorter, his storylines less significant. Despite his continued effort and sacrifice, the company had moved on. In 2012, he suffered a devastating loss. The death of his mother, and Angela Galloway, his steadfast support in the person who had shared his dream from the beginning. Her passing extinguished something within him. The chosen one was no more, replaced by a comedic figure in the group 3MB, a last resort act for three wrestlers who had seemingly lost everything: Drew McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal. The reality behind the scenes was bleak. Utterly exhausted and emotionally shattered, Drew descended into heavy drinking and partying, a destructive spiral he himself acknowledged. He felt like a lost cause, not worthy of another chance. Then came the devastating blow. His release in June 2014, a mere day after moving in with his future wife. The timing was a crushing and frightening blow. Having dedicated his adult life to WWE since the age of 21, wrestling was his entire world. When the company let him go and the fans moved on, Drew McIntyre faced a profound silence and emptiness. Only one option remained. The young man who once thought he could escape destiny had to mature and become powerful enough to defy it. Consequently, he restarted his career, returning to independent wrestling, his native Scotland, and insane championship wrestling, the very place he'd left as a young dreamer. This time, his motivation was different. His initial post-WWE shows were unremarkable, held in rundown venues with unenthusiastic audiences. However, he dominated ICW with intense passion, capturing their top title and showcasing it globally as a symbol of his fight. Despite being overlooked by WWE, he transformed into a legendary figure in the UK. He then sought opportunities with promotions like Evolve, Dragon Gate USA, and WWN, ensuring he left a lasting impression. His drive wasn't just about getting by. He was hungry for a real battle, which he found in America with TNA. Though not his ultimate goal, it provided employment and, more importantly, a chance to compete. He didn't expect top billing. He fought his way there, relying on toughness, intensity, and his commanding presence rather than cheap tricks or catchphrases. He strategically won the TNA World title and engaged in demanding matches against formidable opponents, always giving his all. Yet, as he gained momentum, his physical condition deteriorated, and he relapsed into drinking until his wife issued an ultimatum. Facing his own decline and envisioning a future confrontation with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman in WWE, he resolved to become a credible opponent. He dedicated himself to physical and verbal preparation, training to match Heyman's mic skills and to project an aura of invincibility against Lesnar. Within a short time, he reached the pinnacle of TNA. But his journey didn't end there. He went back to the independent scene, including ICW in Scotland, Evolve in America, and Worldwide Network in Europe, treating every performance with the importance of a major event, regardless of the venue size. This dedication garnered attention. Promoters recognized his value in main events, and younger wrestlers looked to him as an example. Eventually, his efforts were noticed by WWE, and Triple H offered him a return. His long road to proving himself had finally paid off. While many believe Drew was simply reviving his wrestling career, he was undergoing a deeper, personal transformation. He faced immense challenges head-on and emerged stronger and more resilient as a result. He wasn't just a promising talent or someone handpicked for success. He had become a force to be reckoned with, shaped by his time away from the spotlight.